On March 20, 2026, air raid sirens cut through the luxury district of Dubai Marina. Moments later, UAE air defenses intercepted a wave of Iranian suicide drones, and the resulting explosions shattered the night sky, reflecting directly off the glass of the convention center. Weeks earlier, on February 28th, a coordinated U.S. and Israeli offensive killed Iran's supreme leader and top military commanders. Through those initial weeks of fighting, the wealthy Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, kept their distance. They maintained a strict, deliberate neutrality, watching the conflict from the sidelines. That distance evaporated on March 18th. Israeli jets bombed Iran's South Pars gas field. South Pars is the largest natural gas reservoir in the world. This strike marked the first time core fossil fuel production was directly targeted by either side. In response, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps turned its sights on the infrastructure of its neighbors. They launched waves of ballistic missiles and drones at energy hubs across previously neutral Arab territory. Missiles struck the Riyadh refinery in Saudi Arabia and the Ras Laffan terminal in Qatar. With their desalination plants and energy grids under direct fire, the Middle Eastern bloc is now fully caught in the crossfire, facing a regional war that risks immediate economic collapse. Because these nations rely heavily on exporting fossil fuels to survive, their vulnerabilities are deeply economic. Qatar, in particular, suffered a massive blow to its primary source of income almost immediately. This satellite image shows the Ras Laffan industrial port. On March 18th, Iranian strikes caused extensive damage to this specific terminal. The destruction was so severe that Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani explicitly called for an immediate, unconditional end to the aggression, without demanding any prior Iranian concessions. Qatar Energy immediately declared force majeure, a legal clause that frees both parties from liability when an unavoidable crisis occurs. By halting shipments from this exact harbor, 17% of the entire global liquefied natural gas export capacity was instantly removed from the market. Next door in the UAE, the government is fighting a different kind of defensive war. While their military intercepts drones over Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the state is battling to protect its reputation as a safe haven for tourism and foreign capital. To maintain that image of stability, the UAE initiated a strict information crackdown. Authorities arrested over 100 people in a single week simply for filming and posting videos of the Iranian strikes. For these economies, allowing the perception of danger to spread is worse than the physical damage itself. If global investors and shipping companies lose confidence in their safety, the resulting capital flight would bankrupt them. While the Gulf states try to protect their markets, other nations are trapped by their physical geography. Jordan is in a uniquely difficult position, situated directly between Iran and Israel. This map shows the direct flight paths of hundreds of Iranian projectiles passing through Jordanian airspace. On March 7th, Jordan activated defense pacts with the UK and US to provide air cover and intercept these weapons. But shooting them down has triggered severe domestic backlash, with citizens protesting that intercepting the missiles effectively provides military assistance to Israel. Further west, Egypt is facing its own geographic crisis. The government is managing a severe domestic economic downturn, and President Sisi is urgently communicating with regional leaders to prevent a total blockade of the Suez Canal and the Strait of Hormuz. To secure these physical trade routes, Egypt's foreign minister proposed activating a joint Arab military force. This would operate as a Middle Eastern NATO, combining the region's military assets to protect Arab sovereignty and ensure safe passage for cargo. Saudi Arabia has also abandoned its cautious restraint. Following missile interceptions over Riyadh, the kingdom mobilized its military. Their foreign minister hosted an emergency meeting of Islamic leaders, warning that regional escalation will be met with direct military escalation. Because these nations physically sit on top of the world's most critical shipping lanes and flight paths, they cannot step away. They are forced to aggressively police their borders, constantly balancing the threat of internal protests against the collapse of their national security. This chart shows the sudden, sharp spike in global oil prices, breaking past $110 a barrel. With the Arab bloc under fire, the Strait of Hormuz is functionally closed, strangling global supply. And as we shift the data to track European natural gas prices, we see a clear corresponding upward trend. Since the strike on the South Pars field, European natural gas prices have more than doubled, plunging the European Union into immediate crisis mode as they lose access to Qatari fuel. While the Middle East and Europe absorb the damage, opportunistic superpowers are leveraging the chaos. Russia is emerging as the primary economic beneficiary of the war. With Middle Eastern oil blocked and markets panicking, the United States was forced to temporarily suspend its sanctions on Russian oil. This emergency move was necessary to stabilize global prices, but it instantly provided Moscow with a massive influx of capital. At the same time, China is actively supplying satellite imagery and intelligence to Iran to help target Israeli intelligence headquarters. Beijing is securing its own long-term energy interests with Tehran, while publicly criticizing Western military actions. With the primary trade corridors locked down, the physical reality of the global supply chain is playing out on the open water. Massive cargo ships and oil tankers are abandoning the Middle East entirely, rerouting around the southern tip of Africa through dangerous, stormy oceans. When the infrastructure that powers the global economy becomes a direct military target, sitting on the sidelines is no longer an option. The Gulf states tried to avoid conflict, but in a hyper-connected global energy grid, you either aggressively defend your own territory or watch your entire economy burn.